Sometimes it's hard to know how to take your artwork to the next level. You can try really hard, but still wonder, what do I do to make it better? Hello everyone, Miss AG here. And today we're going to go through 6 tips that will help elevate your artwork to the next level. Please remember these are subjective opinions and preferences, and there is not a right way or a wrong way to do something. As long as you like what you're doing, that's all that matters. Okay, let's get started. Number 1. Using the full space of your canvas. I see this a lot. Someone has worked really hard on a drawing, but when they post it, there's such a huge border of white paper around it, the actual figure in the middle looks so small and unimpressive. Sometimes there's a reason to make a figure small, but most of the time this is because you want them to appear vulnerable or challenged in an environment. But what I'm talking about is when the figure is being swallowed up by nothingness. Fortunately, there's an easy fix to this. Even the most basic photo applications usually have some kind of crop tool. You don't have to crop out all the white, just enough to leave a small border around them. Alternately, if you're using a digital program and are still in the sketch phase, you can use the transform tool to make your figure larger before continuing. Think about using the full space of your canvas next time you draw. Number 2. Coloring. Flat coloring can be nice for certain things, but what about if you want to punch it up a notch? Adding shading will do the trick. But one mistake I see a lot is having a flat color with another flat, hard-edged shading over it. It looks hard and rough, and in my opinion, not in a good way. Integrating the shading more makes the image look more thoughtful and professional. I have a quick, easy digital technique that accomplishes this without having to spend hours on shading. Let's go through it real quick. First, instead of the plain old flat color, try a slight gradient. Second, add a very softer edge, darker shade. Then over it, you can add a harder edge shade. Voila! There are a bunch of techniques and styles out there. Keep trying them out until you find one that's right for you. Number 3. Contrast, color theory, and other art techniques. I know what you're thinking, but that sounds dangerously like homework. You don't have to go too crazy here with learning these things. Just knowing what they are and how they impact art can be helpful in how you do yours. For example, contrast can save your subjects from being washed out and bland to really popping on the page. And different colors go better together than others, something to think about especially if you're designing your own characters. Even little things like adding a few highlights can totally up the contrast and bring life to a drawing. Number 4. Line art. There's a place and a time for having a delicate touch with art. Having really light line art and really light coloring can sometimes strain the eye though, and doesn't always look very good. That doesn't mean you have to have really bulky, dark lines either. Sometimes it's about balance. If, for instance, you like the minimum line look, you'll probably have to rely on shading and coloring to carry your work. But if you're a light touch or no touch with shading and color, you might want to consider having your line art be the focus. There are lots of things you can try, like making your line art darker, thicker, and adding line thickness variations. A quirky thing I like to do is create a clipping mask over my line art and color the lines. Number 5. Backgrounds. Backgrounds are kind of a pain for me. Usually when I'm finishing drawing, I think I should add a background to it, but I just want to be done with it. My laziness aside, this doesn't mean you have to go crazy and detail a landscape in every background. Even a simple background can really help sometimes. And a background doesn't have to mean a setting or a scene. Even a border of color around the subject can make it look more interesting. And a white background can even be improved by making it look like your subject is backlit. Number 6. Variation. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. It happens to everyone. They get into a comfort zone and they stick to it. Maybe you're really good at drawing faces in a profile view and never draw them from any other angle. Or maybe you feel confident about drawing bodies but are terrified of hands and always hide them. But if we don't push ourselves to try things outside what we're comfortable with, we'll never improve. I know it's frustrating when you picture something amazing in your head, but then when you try to draw it, you get hung up not being able to execute it. But give it some time. Eventually you'll start to improve. You'll get a critical eye and see how to do it better next time. And you'll be surprised how much progress you can make if you just keep trying. It might not feel like it at the time, but you are getting better. And that's my list. What techniques do you like to use to push your art to the next level? Good luck and thanks for watching.